Every time Daniel picked her up, she did the exact same thing. She reached out with one small white paw and pressed it against his hand. Not once, not twice, every single time, without exception. At first, he thought it was an accident. By the third week, he knew it wasn't. Something about the way she did it felt deliberate, almost like she was trying to tell him something he couldn't quite say in words. But to understand why a 4-week-old stray kitten kept reaching for his hand like that, we have to go back to the morning he found her, because what happened next would change everything he thought he knew about trust. And it would take nearly 2 months before he finally understood what she had been saying all along. It was 6:15 a.m. on a Tuesday in late March when Daniel heard it, a thin, broken cry coming from somewhere behind the dumpsters outside his apartment building. He almost kept walking. He had an early shift and barely enough time for coffee, but the sound didn't stop. It got smaller, weaker, more desperate, like whatever was making it was running out of time. The parking lot was empty except for a few cars and the gray light just starting to break over the rooftops. He crouched down in the wet gravel and found her wedged between a cinder block wall and a rusted trash can, soaked through from the overnight rain. She weighed barely 1 pound. Her eyes were still slightly crusted, her ribs visible beneath thin, matted orange and white fur. Her tiny meow was barely audible over the sound of rain still dripping off the building's gutters. There was no mother in sight, no litter mates, just her, alone, shivering so hard her whole tiny body shook. Daniel didn't think. He pulled off his jacket, wrapped her inside it, and carried her straight to the emergency vet instead of work. The vet guessed she was about 4 weeks old, too young to be away from her mother, dehydrated, mildly anemic, her temperature dangerously low, but otherwise stable enough to survive if someone was willing to do the work. Bottle feeding every 2 to 3 hours, the vet said, day and night for at least 2 more weeks, and even then, it's not guaranteed. Daniel looked down at the tiny, trembling kitten in the towel. "Okay," he said, "I can do that." He had no idea what he was actually agreeing to. The first nights were brutal. Alarms set for 1 a.m., 3:30 a.m., 5:45 a.m. Daniel half asleep, warming formula in the dark kitchen, the kitten too weak at first to even latch onto the bottle properly. There was one night, the second one, when she stopped nursing altogether and went limp in his palm, and for almost a full minute he genuinely believed he had lost her. He rubbed her chest gently with a warm cloth, whispering at her to come back, and she did, with a small, hoarse cry that he would remember for the rest of his life. He named her Marmalade for the streaks of orange running through her fur like color spilled across toast. But what happened over the next few weeks would change everything he thought he understood about her. By the second week, something started happening during the feedings. Every time he held the bottle steady and she began to nurse, one tiny white paw would lift off his palm and press flat against the back of his hand. He assumed it was instinct. Kittens often need while nursing, working their paws against their mother's side to encourage milk flow. Daniel had read about it once in a forum post late one night and assumed that explained everything. But Marmalade didn't need. She reached, slow, deliberate, like she was placing her paw exactly where she wanted it to be. And she never stopped doing it, even long after she had outgrown the bottle entirely. Holding her on the couch? Reach. Carrying her in to the vet for her second checkup? Reach. The first time he clipped on a tiny teal harness and walked her out into the grass behind the building, blinking at sunlight for what might have been the very first time in her short life, she stopped, looked up at him, and reached for his hand before she had even taken a single step forward. A neighbor watering plants on her balcony saw it happen and called down, only half joking, that she had never seen a kitten hold a grown man's hand before. Daniel laughed it off at the time. He didn't yet understand how literally true that was. "I see you're still here and haven't subscribed yet. Honestly, that kind of stings. Hit the button. You're gonna want to be around for what Marmalade does next." Little did he know, this was only the beginning. By week 6, Daniel had started telling himself it was just a quirk, something to mention to friends, nothing more. But he had also started something else, quietly looking into local rescue groups, the kind with foster networks and forever home placement programs. He worked long hours. He traveled twice a month for his job. A kitten, he told himself, deserved someone who could be there more consistently than he could. Someone with a steadier schedule, a yard, maybe other cats to keep her company. He even pictured it sometimes, dropping her off with a foster family, driving home to a quiet apartment, telling himself it was for the best. He scheduled a call with a volunteer named Karen from a nearby rescue, set for Thursday morning to talk about transferring Marmalade into their adoption program. He told himself it was the responsible thing to do. He almost believed it. And then, on Wednesday night, everything fell apart in the gentlest way possible. Marmalade wouldn't settle. She climbed onto his chest at midnight, then again at 2 a.m., then again at exactly 3:42 a.m., each time pressing that same small white paw against his hand, holding it there longer than usual, looking directly into his eyes like she was asking him something. He lay awake in the dark, her paw resting against his palm, and thought about the cinder block wall, the rain, how small and still she had been that first morning. He thought about every single time she had reached for him since, never for food, never for play, only ever for his hand. What she had been trying to tell him the whole time suddenly felt impossible to ignore. He thought about Karen's voice on the phone, kind and professional, ready to find her a perfectly good home with perfectly good people. He thought about how none of those people would know about 3:42 a.m., or the cinder block wall, or the night she had gone limp in his palm and come back. At 6 a.m., he called Karen and canceled. "I think I already found her home," he told her. Karen laughed softly. "I had a feeling you might say that." From that morning on, nothing about the decision ever felt uncertain again. Marmalade is almost 5 months old now, 9 pounds of orange and white confidence, who has fully claimed the couch as her own. She greets him at the door every evening, harness already half expected, ready for their walk around the block before dinner. Some evenings, he catches himself talking to her like she understands every word. She still does it every time he scoops her up, every time he clips on her harness for their evening walk through the grass. That same small white paw finds his hand and presses down, deliberate and certain, exactly the way it did on the very first night. A veterinary behaviorist Daniel spoke with later explained that some kittens separated too early from their mothers redirect that nursing and bonding gesture toward whoever raises them, a way of saying, quite literally, "You are safe, you are mine, you are home." It was never an accident. It was never just instinct. Not really. It was Marmalade's way of telling him every single day since that rainy morning behind the dumpster that she had chosen him right back, long before he ever made the call to Karen. Some animals show love loudly. Marmalade shows it with one small white paw pressed quietly against the hand and didn't walk away when it mattered most. Do you think animals choose us on purpose, or is it something far simpler than that? Tell me in the comments.